Okay, so it's currently, what time is it? It's like 7:30, I think, something like that, in Seoul. I am in my hotel room in Gangnam District in Seoul, and tomorrow morning I am having voice feminization surgery. So I am there were a lot of people who asked me, I guess, a lot of gendery questions about this whole thing. I haven't like really been super public about. Sorry, I'm like playing with my trash can. I haven't been super public about this whole thing. I did mention it like a couple times on Twitter and like on Facebook only recently. There were a couple, like a very small number of magic judges who I talked to, and it's like, yeah, I'm like not going to be judging for a while because I'm having this procedure. Um, so, so like until recently, I didn't tell a whole lot of people, but since I have, I've had a lot of people like reach out to me asking questions. So I promised them that I would put together, some sort of. Do I have a? Oh, I do. Some sort of uh like I said I was gonna write something, but I clearly didn't do that. And one, I figure talking is faster and more natural, and two, I'm having voice surgery tomorrow, right? So this can also serve as like a pre-operative record of what my voice sounds like, so that you can compare afterwards. So yeah, this, like obviously like I don't feel the need to like justify like, yeah, this is why I'm having this surgery, but like I feel like saying some stuff. I will admit that this is not my first take of this video. My first take was ruined because I just like lost my train of thought and like stopped talking for like 3 minutes, and then I like watched it back and I'm like, yeah, this is bad. So now my this is my second thought. My thoughts are slightly more organized, hopefully. Yeah. So I've been transitioning for about 12 years. Or I will say that I started transitioning about 12 years. I wouldn't say that I've been transitioning for this whole time, because at a certain point you are done, right? Like that is the objective. That at a certain point you are no longer transitioning. You're just done. Um and that is the idea. Unfortunately, I don't think that that is the case. Um, but I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. It is weird to be a trans elder in this like situation, like having been queer, like outwardly queer for 12 years. um we've seen like multiple generations of like trans memes and like different kinds of trans people, and like all these stereotypes pop up. I need to tell you that when I came out, none of this existed. There were no blahage. The concept of titty skittles, I think, existed, but it was like new. There was no Reddit trans. That wasn't like a thing. Um, there was no like, like, there were like, there were no like programmer socks. I think that's like a 2017, 2018 sort of thing. It's like yeah, like I didn't sign up for any of these stereotypes. I keep telling people like, yeah, I didn't sign up to like have blahage and programmer socks and like what and like pickles. Oh my god, I signed up to like because I didn't like the way that my body presented, and I wanted to take estrogen, and then I took estrogen. So that's fine. Um, but it's weird, right? And I'm constantly amazed by like the new generation of trans people, and it's like I'm first of all I'm happy for them, right? Because the whole point of progress is that it should be easier in the future to do something than it was in the past. But in the past, it was very different. So, like, I wouldn't even say that it's easier now, right? I think that like it's easier to like have that thought in your head, but actually doing it, like, that's like everything's a political landmine now. Like, it is weird to be the political boogeyman in this way. Um, and I don't just and I think that a lot of people don't fully have that internalized, right? That like, yes, there, like, people do understand, you know, there are conservatives of wearing all different kinds of suits with all different kinds of colors, depending on what country you're talking about, who don't like trans people and would rather people focus on that rather than focus on the issues of the day that actually matter. You know, wanting to ban us from bathrooms, from sporting events, whatever nonsense, whatever. Um, and, but like, that's a whole thing now. And sure, like, yeah, go protest, you know, Ron DeSantis, or like the like North Carolina, like whatever, or the like Indiana, whatever, or the, like all of the like whatever. Pure Polyev's being really fun now, which is cool. Um, yeah, so that is weird. Um, it's, and I wish that, like, you know, the wish obviously for any sort of marginalized group is to just live in peace, and I wish that that could be the case for us, but it's not. So all this to say basically that I am not getting voice feminization surgery for me. I am getting voice feminization surgery for everybody else, and specifically for the people who suck. Um, and you know, I think your first reaction here is almost certainly going to be, but Elaine, you shouldn't have to do that. Society should just conform to like not suck. It's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I fucking wish society would conform to not suck. Let's just like let's just make things not terrible. Everything's solved. Yeah, man, public policy is really easy. Just make things not terrible, right? But no, I can't change that, right? Like, I can only change myself. Um, the South Koreans actually have a very interesting outlook on plastic surgery that I really respect. And that it's honestly like refreshingly honest, because in Western culture, I think that if you get plastic surgery or some sort of cosmetic surgery, it's seen as vain. It's seen as like, you know, you shouldn't need to get a boob job or like Botox or like whatever. But in South Korea, it's a lot more normalized, and it's normalized because it's seen as a like a way to increase your salary, which honestly, like, let's just be honest, right? Like, that makes sense. Society shouldn't work that way, but it does, right? Like, more attractive people are going to be paid more. That is just how it is. So that's kind of the attitude that I'm having going into this. It's just that, like, if this is going to make me more successful or like whatever, then yeah, because I don't see myself as like, yes, I am trans and I am a woman, but that's not my defining quality, right? Like, I really hope that that's not my defining quality. I would like my defining quality to be the work that I do. I would like to be defined by the relationships that I've made. I would like to be defined by like the impact that I've had on other people, and not just like I've inspired people to come out, which I have, and I'm very humbled by that. But like, you know, I fucking saved Face to Face Toronto. You know, I'm like very famous for that one. Or like I judged the like VML, or all of the online conferences I've done, or all of the judges I've mentored like one-on-one, or like or like, you know, or for like Rose Lawyer, right? Which I'm still very proud of that thing. Hasn't been updated in a while because I've been, you know, here, but very like I'm proud of the things that I do, right? Because like me waking up and like presenting as female, that's not difficult. I just like put on like clothes, whatever. That's fine. um but unfortunately, like, society doesn't see it that way anymore. And if this is, and I think that this is something that like I'm going to need in order to like pass better, which I wish wasn't necessary, but I think it is. Um, I I'm going to talk a little bit in broad terms about some magic related issues. Um, I can't really name specific details yet, but I will eventually. But that's not the focus of this video, and I'm not going to name details now. I've had a lot of difficulties. Well, actually, let's back up. I got my level 2 in 2018. And when I started doing GPs in early 2019, my first GP was GP New Jersey in January of 2019. People fucking loved me. And it's really freaking weird why people loved me, because I was a brand new judge. I had no fucking idea what I was doing. And I had so many people tell me, like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you got your O3 in like a year or two. And at that point, I had made the conscious decision to be stealth in like magic. I didn't know how people were going to take it. I think at this point there were already quite a few trans people in magic. I mean, obviously there were quite a few trans people in magic. I didn't know how accepted they would be. I didn't want to like, you know, cause any drama or like anything. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna like do that, and that's fine. But eventually that came out, right? I think it was like the start of the pandemic when I started becoming more active on Twitter. I was like, yeah, I think this is something that I need to come out in magic in order to like defend other queer people, right? And also like being married to Miranda. I'm not gonna say that like it's not that she like passes better than me or anything. I think that's like bullshit, but she definitely doesn't hide being trans. And the idea, and like I wasn't going to like ask her like, yeah, you need to go into the closet if we're to be married, because like, or like she doesn't have to like pretend that I'm cis to like people or something, which like would be deceptive. She has a lot more queer friends than I do, so like I wasn't gonna ask for those sorts of things. So it was gonna come out eventually, and after I moved to Canada, I was very explicit with that. It was like, yeah, like this is an important quality of mine, and I think that it is something that helps me a lot with like having empathy for various marginalized groups, which I think is important, right? And since then, like, I've obviously become a much, much better judge, right? Like, obviously just having the experience. I think that since the pandemic, I've done probably north of 120, 130 events. I haven't really counted them, like big events, which is crazy to think about, right? Like, I have like last year I got on 92 planes. That is insane, right? Like nobody should be flying that much, and I obviously I have like dialed it down. Some of it not by choice, which like I said I'll get to. But yeah, like I faced a lot more resistance since then than I did in 2019 or 2020, despite being a much better judge. And I'm not going to say that like the magic judge program is transphobic, that people are like outwardly, like that people outwardly would be like, yeah, trans people suck, etc., etc. But I will say that if somebody isn't very accepting, and they nitpick trans judges, which I'm not the first person that this has happened to, and they nitpick trans judges. Other people will be like, yeah, like, you know what? I think that is disqualifying for whatever. Whereas, you know, if someone hadn't pointed out this nitpick for someone who isn't a marginalized group, that would happen, like the result and the evaluation of this person would be very different, right? And like, to be clear, this isn't something that just happens in magic, right? Like, you will constantly see people on Twitter like piling on trans people for saying the same thing that like a cis person would say, right? Like, there's so much of like you know, trans person didn't like make a perfectly nuanced take, so we're going to dogpile this person, is like a meme at this point, and it's very frustrating. So this is like me trying to pass better. Really is just like me trying to step out of that box of like, this is a trans person and we have to treat this person terribly because of that. Obviously, ideally, people just wouldn't treat trans people poorly, but I don't have the ability to like transform society as much as I would like to. I just have the ability to like make changes to myself. Obviously, in magic, like, being trans is kind of like out of the bag. I'm a very public person. I'm a I do a lot of like very public things, but you know, that's not my only hobby now, especially that like magic is not going in a great direction, which I think a lot of people share my opinion on that. You can talk to literally any content creator who's going to tell you about how magic is dying. And, you know, honestly, I'm only here because my friends are here and like I have a lot of skills as a magic judge that aren't super transferable, which kind of sucks, but that's just kind of how it is. And like, yeah, like my friends are here. That's very important, right? But I now have other interests, right? And also like I'm stealth at school. That's very important to me. Because I don't like, because like I saw what happened in magic and I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna not tell people I'm trans. And by the way, if you are the kind of person that reacts to that by saying, you know, I don't believe that you're stealth at school because I would be able to tell immediately, I invite you to go fuck yourself. Because, come on. But also, too, there might be a grain of truth to that, like, a little bit, and, you know, me trying to have surgery is part of trying to change that, because I think how your voice is, I think, subconsciously how a lot of people perceive gender, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is, because, like, you know, you can change how your body looks with, you know, hormones and makeup and like whatever, but you can't change your voice. So people are like, oh yeah, this is the foundational thing. You can tell what genitals someone had at birth by like hearing their voice, and it's just like, well, if that's how people are gendering me, then I have to change that part about me, right? But no, like at school, I'm pretty much stealth. I now have other hobbies. I've started like being I've started being an av geek, you know. I like plane spotting, I like planes. I have planes on my desk at home. Eventually I'd like to like have like a private pilot's license or something, and it's like these sorts of things, like in that community, like, you know, I've seen what happened in magic. I'm not gonna come out as trans in that community. I'm just going to be me. It's not gonna, and like, I don't expect that community to be like super welcoming, right? It's all like old dudes, whatever. And like, if it comes out eventually, then it comes out eventually. That's fine, but I don't want, but like, I want to be defined by the things that I do and not my, like, the things that I can't control, like how my voice sounds, and if people like do a double take about my voice or something, and that becomes like me being trans is like a defining quality, I don't like that. Some people might say that I'm abandoning other trans people with this position. That it's like, I should like not just like go stealth and not fight the good fight. It's like that's not entirely true, but like there is a grain of truth to that, I guess. But it really is like at a certain point I need to protect myself, right? Like I need to do what is best for me before I can do what's best for other people. This is the classic like put on your own mask before helping others, and this is me putting on my own mask before helping others. It does feel a little bad like on that front, and I haven't like totally sorted that out emotionally, I guess, but whatever. Like I will continue to like do my best, but I need to do this for me, I guess. Or so with that being said, I guess, man, yeah, this is my voice 16 hours before voice feminization surgery, and we'll see how it sounds, I guess, 2 months afterwards, or 3 months, or 8, or 6, or 8, or like whatever. Yeah.